Have you ever felt that in order to survive the pain, you had to emotionally distance yourself from everything and everyone? How many times have you been accused of being cold, when in truth, you were just trying to protect what was left of your heart? The truth is, many people confuse detachment with coldness. But what few understand is that this behavior is often a natural defense of the soul. It's not a lack of love. It's the silent cry of someone who has loved too much and been deeply wounded. Today, you will understand how detachment can be a form of self-preservation, the signs that you are protecting yourself, not being cold, and how to transform this distance into a true healing tool. If this topic resonates with you, like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, have you ever felt guilty for needing to emotionally distance yourself? Now, let's begin. Why does detachment seem like coldness? Debunking the myth, we live in a society that values deep connections, strong bonds, and quick emotional responses to others. That's why when someone starts showing less emotional involvement, judgments quickly arise. You're being cold. You don't care anymore. You've become distant. But most of the time, it's not a lack of love, it's protection. When we face losses, rejections, traumas, and disappointments, the soul learns that exposing itself emotionally again may bring more pain. Thus, detachment arises as a natural emotional survival mechanism. A study from Harvard University shows that people who have experienced emotional trauma are 3 times more likely to develop temporary patterns of emotional withdrawal. It's as if the brain says, if you don't get involved, you won't get hurt. But this instinct, meant to protect us, is often misunderstood by others and even by ourselves. What happens to the soul when it defends itself from suffering, when you face intense emotional pain, whether it's a breakup, a loss, abandonment, or childhood trauma? Your nervous system goes into protection mode. Neuroscientifically, our brain activates the amygdala, the area that responds to fear and threat. Next, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation, seeks strategies to reduce the risk of new wounds. One of the most common strategies is emotional detachment, not because you've stopped feeling. On the contrary, you've felt so deeply that your body and mind decided to limit further emotional loads to prevent a collapse. It's like placing a shield over your chest. You still have a heart, but it's protected by armor. On the outside, you may appear cold. On the inside, you still feel, but in silence. This process is not conscious. It happens because your soul, exhausted from suffering, is trying to find a way to survive. It's important to understand that this is not a flaw. It is a self-preservation instinct. However, over time, this defense can crystallize and make emotional reconnection more difficult. That's why it's crucial to recognize what's happening. Many people in emotional self-protection mode don't recognize their own signs. They think they're becoming rude or losing the ability to love. But in reality, what is happening is that your soul is saying, I am not ready to open up again yet. Here are some clear signs that you are protecting yourself, not being cold or unkind, avoiding deep or emotional conversations. You feel growing discomfort when someone wants to open their heart to you. It is not a lack of empathy. It is fear that these conversations will reopen old wounds. Difficulty trusting even those who show care. Your mind says, what if it happens again? This fear isn't rational. It's your body's response trying to prevent more pain. Feeling emotionally drained, you feel like you have no energy to give or receive affection. This happens because your emotional system is in conservation mode, trying to stay whole. Difficulty opening up to new relationships. An automatic resistance begins to emerge. Every time someone gets close, you put up an invisible break without even realizing it. Guilt for feeling all of this, perhaps the most painful sign. You feel guilty for needing this distance. But again, this isn't coldness. It's your body asking for time to heal. Scientific insight. Studies show that the brain of someone who has experienced emotional trauma activates areas of emotional freeze as a defense mechanism, which can last weeks, months, or even years, depending on the intensity of the pain. Recognizing these signs is the first step to addressing them more consciously and compassionately. The danger of getting lost in total detachment, when protection becomes a wall, emotional detachment, when used as a temporary healing tool, is healthy. But when it becomes a way of life, it transforms into an invisible wall that separates us from life's richest experiences. At first, this distance feels like relief. You feel less vulnerable, stronger, more in control. But over time, you realize you're also less connected, less present, less alive. Here are the risks of staying in this state too long. Emotional isolation without realizing it. You begin to distance yourself not only from those who cause pain, but also from those who could offer genuine love and support. Superficial relationships. Out of fear of opening up, you keep relationships on the surface. This prevents the building of true and deep bonds. Difficulty experiencing full joy, the same mechanism that blocks pain, also blocks pleasure and happiness. You live in a kind of neutral zone, emotionally numb. Physical illness. Studies show that repressed emotions and emotional blockages increase the risk of illnesses such as insomnia, high blood pressure, digestive problems, and even weakened immunity. Loss of authenticity. When you spend too much time operating in defense mode, you start to disconnect from your essence. You forget who you were before the pain. Important warning. According to the WHO, people living in chronic states of emotional freeze are 4 times more likely to develop depression and anxiety disorders. That's why it is crucial to recognize when self-protection stops being healthy and starts imprisoning us. The key is not to cling completely, nor to disconnect entirely. The true path to healing is learning to feel with awareness and choosing wisely when and how to expose yourself emotionally. Here are practical strategies to cultivate this balance. Acknowledge your wounds with compassion before trying to reopen to the world. Recognize that your detachment was a legitimate response to pain. Don't blame yourself for it. Practice saying to yourself daily, I protected myself because I needed to. Now I can begin to open up in my own time. Don't try to force a deep emotional dive all at once. Start with small gestures of vulnerability, like having an honest conversation with someone you trust or expressing a feeling in a journal. Emotional defense often involves physical disconnection. Practices like yoga, mindfulness, conscious breathing, and meditative walking help restore the connection between mind and body, allowing emotions to flow more naturally. Learning to protect yourself consciously means knowing when to say yes and when to say no, without closing all the doors. Practice self-awareness and always ask yourself, am I saying no out of fear or because this truly isn't good for me? Seek therapeutic help when needed. Sometimes emotional wounds run so deep that professional support is required. Don't hesitate to seek out a therapist or support group. Research indicates that practices like mindfulness and integrative psychotherapy significantly increase a person's ability to regulate emotions, helping them find a healthy balance between protection and connection. Remember, the goal is not to stop protecting yourself, it is to learn how to do it in a way that doesn't suffocate your ability to love, feel, and live fully. Now that you understand your detachment is not coldness, but a mechanism of protection, it's time to begin a process of transformation. The idea is not to force yourself to feel everything at once, but to create a safe space where your emotions can flow again, with self-care and compassion. Here are simple and powerful exercises for this journey: daily prayer or self-compassion affirmation. Start your day with words that embrace your emotions. Example, Today, I allow myself to feel whatever I'm ready to feel at my own pace. My detachment was an act of self-care. Now I can slowly open myself to new experiences of love and connection. Do this exercise for 5 minutes. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. As you breathe, allow yourself to feel any emotion that arises without judgment. Simply observe and embrace it. Write a letter to yourself, take a piece of paper, and write us. If you were speaking to your wounded self, I understand why you pulled away. I will not force you to change overnight, but I'm here to help you gradually trust again. Prepare a calming tea. During preparation and while drinking, practice full presence. Notice the aroma. Feel the warmth of the cup. Savor each sip. This simple ritual helps ground you in your body and the present moment, a crucial step in unlocking repressed emotions. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen. Mentally say, I am here. I accept myself as I am. It's okay to feel. This touch sends a signal of safety and acceptance to your nervous system. If, while doing these exercises, you feel very intense emotions arising, seek therapeutic help. This is a sign that there is deep material that deserves to be worked through with professional support. Remember, detachment is not coldness. It is a cry from your soul asking for time to heal. That living permanently cut off from your emotions robs you of the opportunity to experience the beauty of life. With conscious steps and self-compassion, you can regain the balance between protection and openness. If this video resonated with you, please leave a like, comment, and share it with someone who may be going through the same thing. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever felt that detachment was your only way to survive? Let's create a safe space here for sharing and support. See you in the next video. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. I will leave in the card and in this video as description another wonderful video that has helped many people. Your consciousness is trying to heal you, but you are not listening. I'll see you in the next video. A warm embrace from your friend, Alina Gray.